Yeah. All right. So, mm, the reality is changing so much faster now. We're high rising into uh, new formulations of the matrix grids. The simulation patterns are coming into formation right now. A lot of our energy is going into a higher state of awareness depending on where we choose to go, depending on if we choose that paradigm shift within our consciousness. So I have been noticing that there's a lot of energy going into our systems, coming up from the earth, creating a massive change within us. So remember, we have to always remember that whatever we see, like certain shifts that we observe from the outside or on the outside, is really a shift that is occurring on the inside of ourselves. And this is a shift that would have occurred within ourselves in a previous now moment. So we're essentially witnessing the manifestations have a bit of lag time. So we're actually witnessing in the reflections of past experience until we become that full presence, right? So everything is changing for sure. With these galactic portals that are actually occurring right now and that are coming up, we are going to be experiencing a lot more connections when it comes to telepathy, more connections when it comes to our Akashic records and our DNA resonance. We're going to be experiencing more vivid dreams, more lucid dreams. We're going to be experiencing more of the everything when it comes to like a waking dream cycle or system. Everything speaks to us in the reality, and it is for us to really pay attention and listen to not marginalize the experiences that are around us, but to incorporate them into our manifest reality. So yeah, so for example, the wind again, like wind is a major confirmation of a lot of things for me. Right? So as you see, the wind essentially responds to, see that? The wind basically responds to at times to my energetic resonance. If I so choose to observe that, you can connect to the atmospheres, the grounds, the groundations, connecting to the mycelium network, which is another intricate network of basically a nerve structure for the earth. Right? So it's very similar to our network system, our communication system, when it relates to our the bacteria, the fungi in our system, the microorganisms that exist within our system. And so this is where the connection goes in terms of the comparison of our system, our body, and the body of the earth. So yeah, So the yeah, we're becoming more aware of this information, this subtle information that is around us within each moment, that is within us in every moment, that comes forward and comes forth in a new cycle of change. We are becoming more of our higher selves. We are becoming aware of our avatar self or avatar state. Connecting to the over self. So yeah, it's very interesting. I've had experiences of actually connecting to aspects of myself in other dimensions, and in it the experience of communicating in the mind system, in the mind, and actually having like a physical response here in this dimension, showing the correlation of the simulation patterns that we exist in, and its connection to the mind system, and how our dimensional existence, our multidimensional existence, is real, at least to the experiencer, right? If they choose to observe that reality, that being, and know that that is what it is. So yeah. Everything from our ability to interact with clouds, for example. Like, I've found that clouds and wind for me, and crystals, right? I tend to walk around with crystals. Could be I think it's my earth element nature, connecting to a lot of those aspects, and seeing the reflection within them, right? And also seeing beyond into the quantum states of our existence as quantum beings, as light formations, light beings, fields of information, a morphogenetic field of information, frequency lights of DNA, and it's amazing. The more we connect to ourselves, the more we know who we are. It's an ongoing journey all the time, and in the beginning it can be a little harder to understand that, because some especially now, a lot of people are going through their dark night of the soul, and it can be tough. It can be man, for me it was tough, going through these cycles of like loops, essentially, for lessons that needed to be learned, that needed to be acknowledged, parts of self that I denied attention, that I denied love, and it would bring you into a loop, a cycle. For me, one of the things for me was the fear of tests. Right? Evaluations, really and truly, right? And because of the fear of failure, so it would cause me to procrastinate and stuff like that. And now it made me realize, yo, that's the ego, that, right? The ego fears failure. The ego doesn't want to be tested. The ego doesn't want you don't want to be evaluated. and so it's moving out of that cycle, that system, that loop, by coming out of the ego system. So I would have mentioned before about the for example, like detoxing and certain the microbes. Even when you check the microbes, the microbiome actually affects our behavior. Certain foods, certain minerals affect our behavior. If we have a deficiency in certain minerals, like B12 for example, you're gonna have a certain type of trait, behavior that would be possibly associated with that deficiency. Cobalt, again, is another one. I think that's linked to, they've linked the deficiency and that being linked to like depression, I think. There are a lot of key factors though, and, for example, like serotonin. The microbiome produces serotonin within the system. It provides the body with that very important neurotransmitter that transmits up through the vagus nerve right up into our brain. That neurotransmitter helps with sleep cycles, and it also helps with depression, mood. So there are a lot of different things that you can incorporate into, for example, ashwagandha helps with stress. Ashwagandha also helps with mood regulation, is an adaptogen. It helps with, again, the stress factors within the environment, within your system. So as within, so without. I would have mentioned, I think lion's mane also helps with that, because lion's mane assists with the repair of the, so it helps the body to produce is nerve growth factors, right, which helps with the repair of the nerves within your system. There are I think I used to use L-theanine. That's found in green tea. That helps with like relaxing of the brain, so your brain would go into more of like an alpha state. It's easier to actually go into an alpha state. That's an amino acid, so our body needs amino acids. Let me see. But yeah, like again, that's an example of certain things that many people use, or like supplement, for example, to assist with creating that balance, moving into a more harmonious state within the consciousness. Because again, we there are many different roads. Yeah, right. So certain foods can affect our behavior, and in that I was able to that was a part of it, but in the loop, the cycle that I was in, of this fear of failure, and right, the evaluations, the universe would put me in places, in situations where I would be tested and evaluated all the time. Right, and at times I would choke up and I would fail because of the fear of failure, right? And it changed when I came to the realization, the innerstanding, that was what I needed to overcome. That was what I needed to step beyond, to move out of. And it's like overnight this thing changed, like everything, it's like the algorithm programs within the system, machinations started to construct or reconstruct, recode, rewrite, and because it rewrote within myself, within my coding, in my energy system, and it changed out here. Constantly, it does this all the time. Anytime you make a decision, Again, this, speaking from my experience, I have noticed that with certain changes to my inner reality, the external follows. It has to, because it's created from the inner planes, the inner worlds, the inner higher dimensional aspects, higher dimensional realities, which is inside of us. It's like a falling in. I remember a time I was meditating, and I was trying this lucid dreaming guided meditation, and I think it was Gerald O'Donnell, I think it was, and it was one of the most interesting experiences. I basically, upon the countdown, because in the meditation it would be like these countdowns, 5, 4, like a hypnosis kind of thing, right? And I remember feeling this feeling that I always used to feel, but I would try to like fight it or resist it. Like I would get this, I'm still, I could feel, I started feeling like my toroidal field spinning. I would feel like this, almost like if my body was cycling like this. So I would feel the energy moving around my system, and I would feel my cycling. And then I would start to feel like a pressure in my solar plexus, or maybe like the lower, just above the solar plexus area, and it would be sucking in, like going in, almost like if like well, sometimes when you're meditating, you would basically like dip like this, and so I essentially started doing this, and I started feeling this going in. So before I used to feel it, I would feel it and I would try to fight it, no, right? And like it would jump me out of the meditation. But like in that moment of being guided through this process, I was able to let go completely, and I let go of the feeling of needing to resist that feeling. And when I completely released that, I like went in and went out. It was like if I like folded in and out, and I literally teleported from my space where I was meditating and went into like my expanded mind system, my expanded mind self, and I teleported to the first place that I thought of. And in my mind at that time, I was thinking about traveling to Andromeda, and I went immediately to that place to like that's how fast our mind is, right? We can travel anywhere we wish to. And it seemed to me, like the more we let go, the more we allow the more we let go of that ego aspect, that the logical mind system. I mean, you still need it in balance too, but I noticed it held me back because I was doing engineering, I was doing civil engineering, very logical system, a lot of mathematics, a lot of computations. Your mind doesn't have room for them kind of things. But I always used to be, when I was younger, I used to be a daydreamer. So I would travel to places, I would look at clouds, and I would wonder, I wonder how it feels to go up there, to travel, like fly up to a cloud and touch, And from when I checked, like all of that is lucid dreaming, all of that we're able to do lucidly, but it becomes stronger the more you're relaxed, the more you let go. And so I traveled to this in space to the Andromedan galaxy, and I remember going and traveling, flying around, and I was close to like a planet, and like I remember seeing a toroidal field around me. What some would call like a Merkaba, but it looked like a ship, like a mini like ship. Traveled to this space, onto a planet, and there were actual beings there. Like there were actual beings there on the planet system. Yeah, so I mean, I know it was very real to me. It was very extremely real to me. So yeah, I yeah, I literally like landed. It was like if I was like, yeah, I just landed in their space. Um, it almost seemed like if they knew I was coming to. It was pretty interesting. It was an interesting experience. So yeah, I actually I mean I took for maybe like um yeah, like a year. Was it a year? Yeah, I took a year, kind of like basically like off the whole like traveling and the mind system, all that stuff, because again, uh, I would have mentioned the whole thing with like the disconnect I had from my body. So it would have created, okay, for example, I know a lot of people going through, some people when they're going through their body activations, they're gonna go through some like soreness in the muscles, soreness in all over the body can hurt. Like you can feel like if you get hit with a Mack truck, right? Or somebody take a piece of 2x4 wood and slap it across your back, right in your back, or alongside by your head, hit you on your head, on your face. Uh, and so like I noticed like certain things like that would come up, and it would be harder for me then to like connect. For some people, they could connect still. Actually, it might be easier for them to connect even to the mind system. But when my body back then was feeling sore, and um, it was, yeah, because now I more attention now is in the body. So I noticed, yeah, like when I started using magnesium, so I used magnesium. I'm trying out Dead Sea salt in a spray bottle, spraying it on my skin. I don't get the soreness anymore because my system is balanced. But having when back then when I was using magnesium, perfect. Like nothing. I wasn't feeling any type of soreness on my system. My mind was able to now again travel because I'm not getting the alarm system in the body activating. Check oil systems. Check this. Check that. Basically, check engine light on your car. So that's what it was for me. It was like an alarm system. I had to address the situation before I left the car on autopilot or on cruise mode and travel other places. So that's why I kind of like I don't really stress it, but that's why I kind of like put emphasis on the body system too, like paying attention to like what we eat, what we intake. And everybody has it different. Everyone would, based on what you are experiencing, what your body feels like it needs or wants. If you need to eat meat, right? If you, because in some systems that can be used to build on a certain like, however, like your body may need it, right? If you feel you need to do a detox, do a cleanse, search it up. Burdock is a good herb, is a great herb. Dandelion root, that's a really good herb too. Sea moss is a real good one for like minerals. Shilajit is another one for minerals. So the minerals, if we have the minerals in our system, our body, our battery is able to function at a more optimum state or level. I use Ormus from time to time because I make Ormus. So that's like monatomic elements, but that's like a lightning fuel. That's Yeah, that's a whole another realm. Uh, it's quite interesting. Some people use colloidal gold, silver, colloidal copper, colloidal iridium. Uh, yeah, right. Ethereum gold. So it all depends on the fuel, the type of fuel, or the type of machinations or mechanisms you're utilizing, or you wish to utilize within the system. Once the body has the energy, you're actually able to have like this extra energy now to travel, to do other things, to go other places in the mind system. It's a win, right? So yeah, the and again that ties into the manifestations as well. So if the topic was on manifestation, it ties into the manifestation of our reality. Certain fuels, certain we intake certain things within our system. It literally changes the current within our system, within our body, and that affects also the current that we experience outside in the system. So yeah, I would say the alignments are in. The alignments are here. We're about to move through into like a harmonic convergence very soon, which would be a singularity point, a 0 point field of experience. Some people may call it the what do you call it? People call it the flash, the solar flash. I've had dreams about that similarly as well. Uh, it seems to be, it's an interesting, I mean, for some people the solar flash happened already in the internal planes. The solar flash happened already. So however it manifests on the external route, it's going to be pretty interesting to observe. Since the eclipse happened in, was it June? Yeah. The energy's been increasing exponentially. A lot of changes are happening. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen around the Lions Gate portal, and then August the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, September. That's my birth. That's my solar return month. Last year for me, that was a crazy rebirth cycle. I call it like the phoenix burn. So it's like I allow for a complete change, like like keeping the core programs in terms of like my soul essence, but allowing myself to be rebirthed in a new way, whether it be so last time I cut my locks, it could be any form of change really, in a moving forward type of way, in a releasing of the old structures within the system, so your ego, etc., and moving into a higher reality and observing the changes from within and observing them outside. So yeah, so pay attention to that. Pay attention to the feelings that you may have. I tend to pay attention to certain feelings that I may have within my body when I eat certain things. Certain emotions may come up, certain emotions don't come up, right? Pay attention to when the energy, as the energy comes up and it surges up from the planet. Some people will feel it, some people won't. The sun is getting hotter, it feels like to me. Again, some people will feel it, some people won't. but observe the feelings coming up within your system, and allow it to pass. Observe it, and allow it to don't don't shoo it away. Try not to do that. Observe it if it needs to be observed. I wouldn't say like hold on to it either. Don't hold. Well, trust your intuition. It's a time for great observation. This is a time for introspection, going within. A lot of people had time inside of their houses, inside of themselves, with everything that going on, right? So just be mindful of the different changes within the system. What I'll do is I'll actually encode parts of this video that would assist in like the balancing of fields within the system. Getting okay. So Fat waniku itu jatana jatmitwa kayamu jinu vash nat kalapu. So that's a light language sequence. I could speak light language through my voicing grids. Tends to come true. It actually comes through a lot in the early mornings, like 3 o'clock. Right, but what I did was a plasma field that would help balance out certain systems. Yeah, but we moving into a whole new dynamic energy, and we are in it, and we choose whether we wish to be on this train or the other. So it's all a choice. It's all a choice of where we wish to be, where we wish to go. So I'm gonna leave this one here. Yeah. So have a great one, and stay balanced, stay focused in the shift. Allow love to come to spring forth from within your system, within your core being, and extend and expand out. Wholeness.